Hi, I'm Tiffany, back with Anne's Soap and Stuff. And it's been a long time since we've been able to make stuff together. So let's go make something. Right, Sadie Mae? She's like, we're ready. Okay, so today we are making my favorite. We are making foaming hand scrubs. So today, what we are going to do is make sure we tear out our scale and have nice hot water. And then we're going to make sure we put our gloves on so we're completely covered. We want to follow good general practice of making sure we have our hands covered, we have our eyes covered. We don't want to get anything in there. Okay, so we have our water ready to go. And this is my soap paste I made probably about 6 months ago, and it's been sitting and hanging out. So we are going to make sure, so we're going to tear it out first, and then we're going to weigh everything we need. Soap paste is definitely fun to make and super interesting. A little bit of a learning curve if you just do regular cold process soap. So we're not quite to those ounces, so I have a little left over we can grab. From the last batch. There we go. So if you're wondering why the two are slightly different colors, I'm pretty sure I just ended up cooking one a little longer than the other, which it happens, so not a big deal. So we're going to cut those in little chunks, and then like I said, we have super hot water over here in the back, and we are going to pour that together. So I'm going to try to hurry up and cut these apart. We just want them in little chunks. And I have cleaned and sanitized the bowl already, so you want to make sure that anything you're working with is going to be clean. Cut these into strips. Again, this is soap paste, and if you guys want a recipe for that, we can do that another time. Also be aware that we are in the process of moving, so I will try to make sure to come back and do as many possible videos as I can. So if you can hang out with me till then, that would be amazing. So foaming hand soap is one of my favorite things to make. I just like the feel of it. It's totally different. You can put it in a foamer. So this one, I am going to do Bombtastic. So it's the dupe of, I think, Bombshell. Which, super great fragrance, really light. I like it. I carry it in many different things, so be sure to go check out tristatesoaps.com. And I have Bombtastic body butter, shampoo, conditioner. We have it in body scrub, and soon to be a foaming hand soap. I just like the foaming hand soaps. They're moisturizing, they're really soft on the skin. Oh, they are truly something wonderful. So soap paste, like I said earlier, was a lot different than cold process or hot process. Cold process, you mix all your ingredients together and pop it in a container and let it sit. Your hot process, depending on what you choose to do, is pretty much the same recipe, only some people prefer to throw it in a crock pot, let it heat up. It just depends. Some people like that rustic look, and some people like the nice, you know, lines and swirlies and stuff. And some people can get great swirly stuff out of hot process. I cannot. Mine just comes out just looking rustic, so I don't mind it as much, and some people prefer that. So the paste here is made up of kind of two processes, if you will. It does go in the crock pot to cook, but you use sodium hydroxide and you use potassium hydroxide. So using both of them are different. Usually if you're making hot process or cold process, you're going to use sodium hydroxide. If you're making Castile liquid soap, you're just going to use potassium hydroxide. However, if you want to try a fun experiment, do them both. Look up a calculator. Make sure you know how to use those. And that's how I made paste. You know, so if you're curious, you can always message me and we'll talk about it. But otherwise, I did find an amazing recipe as well for men's beard shaving cream. So that's been another great endeavor for us. All right, so now that we have that done, that was all my ounces. We're going to pour our hot water in here. You can choose to boil it. It's not a big deal. I just made sure to get it really, really, really nice and toasty. I noticed that the soap paste will melt a lot quicker and faster if you pour water into it. I think we're going to add the glycerin today, and then we're going to wait till tomorrow and come back and add the rest of the ingredients tomorrow. So as far as your preservatives, there are a couple options. However, I have another one as well too. Phenanip, Optifin, and a Dermal Plus. The Optifin is downstairs. You just want to make sure that whatever you are using, definitely read the instructions and go back to the manufacturer and ask questions. You do need to make sure that you are using the correct preservative for the correct item that you're making. They each hold different properties. Some work well with others. Some work with a higher oil base and a lower water base. Some of them work well with a high water base and a low oil base. Some of them are for specific bacterias and molds and things that can grow. So you really, really want to make sure that you do your research and look into those. So what we're choosing to do is we're going to choose Dermal Plus today. So that's going to go with this one. I think usually my Phenanip I use with my body scrubs because it is an oil base and it may come in contact with water. So my current scrubs do not contain water, but they have the option to come in contact with water. So I believe that's what Phenanip is for, but I will make sure to double check that before I give you wrong info. All right, so let's put this back on the scale here and we're gonna zero it out. Once we put it up there, I'm gonna tear it out, and my Dermal Plus is going to get a few ounces. Go super slow. If you don't think you're going to be able to do the right amount, then please make sure not to pour over your bowl. Super bad idea. Although I got it right on the money. So I'm just going to use the tip of the knife because that was already clean from previous. I'm just going to swirl that around. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a lid on this guy and leave it overnight. And we will come back tomorrow and I will show you how to add some colorant to it, how to add a fragrance to it. Let's go ahead and add the glycerin as well. Glycerin is a great humectant. So we're going to go for about an ounce here. stir that back around a little bit just to give it a little quick stir. Like I said, you and I, we're going to meet back here tomorrow so that we can put in the coloring and the fragrance, and then I'll show you how to divvy it up into foaming hand soap, and then we're going to pump some out tomorrow, and you'll get to see how that goes. So until then, I think we are going to say goodnight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. So it's been about a day, and we're going to check the foaming hand soap we started on. I usually leave it about 12 to 24 hours. Within the first 12 hours, I usually check on it at least once to see. Look at that. There's no clumps, no anything. This is perfect. So I did actually leave it a little over 24 hours. So that's what it should look like. So I think I'm going to run the stick blender through it just really, really quick. I don't like doing the stick blender all the time, especially if you have big chunks. Like I said, hot water and leave it for 12 to 24 hours. If you want to speed up the process, you can throw some gloves on, and all those chunks we seen in the water the other day, you can just stick your hands in and mush them up. Clean the gloves off as much as you can, throw your lid back on, and then just leave it for a day or two. Like I said, this is almost just about perfect. You can kind of see there's little clumps in here. Not a big deal. We'll take a stick blender to that, and we'll get that cleaned up. First, to do a great 2-in-1 moment, we are just actually going to add our fragrance. So today we're doing Stolen Kisses, and I find it easier to use your scale. And zeroed out, switch it to ounces. There we go. Then we're going to get a dropper and drop that guy in. All right. So we'll pour backwards. We'll pour a little at a time, and then we'll figure out where we're at. One more. Yep. There we go. Okay, now we got what we want. Okay, so our fragrance is in. Put that to the side. And then I have a nice little small one so we can measure out the coloring. So I like to start with about 1 gram first. So we'll see what 1 gram looks like. And we're going to change our measurements. So that's just about 1 gram. So we'll throw that in. We'll mix it up and we'll see what it looks like. Ignore my puppies. So we're going to beat out the air bubbles. We don't want any air bubbles in there. And just give it a little quick whisk. want to try to get as many clumps out as possible. See the floaters? And it is a very pretty pink. I think I would just like to do just a smidge more. Dropped my spoon, so good thing I have extras. So we'll maybe do a gram more. Do a half a gram. Let's do a half a gram and see how that looks. I do want to get it as close to my colors as my other stuff I have. There we go. That's a little better. I think I like that better. So I feel comfortable with the color, so I think we're going to leave it at that. So just make sure if you're going to do anything, make sure you take notes. So this is the first time I've made this particular one. So in my notes, I'm going to make sure I'm going to list roughly 1.5 grams. Grab a little paper towel. We'll clean this guy off. That way we can use him for measuring out our soap. All right, I'm going to make a few adjustments and we'll be right back. Okay, so just to make sure everything is perfectly sanitized, I went ahead and sprayed alcohol on all my containers and all the pumps. My countertops are clean. So just make sure that whatever you do, you're going to practice good manufacturing practices. Clean everything down, wipe everything off. Make sure there's no children in the room, no pets in the room. Okay, so we're going to put this back on the scale. Actually, I don't like this one. I'm going to switch to my other scale. This one is okay for some stuff. It just is not completely true all the time. I like to use my other guy. Excuse my puppy behind. She doesn't care for people walking by. There we go. Okay. Let's turn it on. Make sure it'll tear itself out. Just gonna dip in and slowly pour away. Get as much in here as possible. Now my recipe, I have it so it'll make 6 of these. Make sure your bowl's not touching. And I think I go pretty close to 8 ounces. So let's go 775. And then we'll just go back through and make sure that we top them all off if there's anything left. And a little over. super pretty color. Smells fantastic. Nobody's perfect. Five, six. Scales right. What in the world? I cannot pour straight today. There, 770. My head is like in the clouds or something today. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to take what's left in the bowl. Usually have a spatula, but like I had said in my previous video, we are in the middle of a move, so my spatulas are in another room. So this should be super close. The bubbles will go down after a bit, so let's see what we have left and try to get these as close to 8 as possible. Eight. That one's 8. All right. Okay, so we have everything we need. Okay, so I couldn't figure out why it was short. I told you I'm having a very bad morning. I can't count. There should have been 2, 4, 6, 8 here. Now there's 8. So now they're all here and we have just a little left over. A lot of times I just use it and add it to my last stuff that I made, and then that way we have a whole bunch for ourselves. It's always going to make a little more. I think my recipe calls for about 40 ounces of water. I usually do about 40.5 or even 41 sometimes. Just because if you're going to let it sit in the container overnight or a couple of days, it will tend to lose some of that extra water. So now that we have that out of the way, let's throw some of these on, and then I'll show you what my labels look like, and then we'll be finished. We will also clean up the sides a little bit to make sure there's no extra sticky stuff on there. Totally miscounted. 2 left. But isn't that such a gorgeous color? And you can't see it from where you are, but there's a little sparkly in it, which makes it super pretty. The smell is amazing. I absolutely love this smell. It's a huge seller for me. All right, I'm gonna do a quick cleanup and then we'll come back and I'll show you my labels. Okay, most important and super important for me, being picky, I always line my containers up and make sure that everything's turned about the same way. That way, when I go put lids and things on them, or sorry, labels, they won't look so crazy. So these are my labels. I absolutely love them. So we're going to throw a couple on and call it a day. Make sure my countertop is dry. Right there. Peel them right off. Stick them on. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And hopefully we'll get some extra videos rolling out here soon. It's definitely going to be a hectic year for me this year. So I will try my absolute best. Until then, I hope you have an amazing day and go find something fun to do for yourself. Bye.